I love open world exploration games, but I've always felt that there's one type of environment missing from them: a thriving metropolis. There are many open world games that take place in a city, but in most of them, the city is just a backdrop rather than a living, breathing environment that is interesting to explore by itself. Few games give the player enough freedom to enter more than a handful of buildings and interact with the city's people and services. That is why I decided to make my own immersive city exploration game, and I'd like to share my vision and motivation for this project. I grew up in a rural area, so I've always been fascinated by big cities. Of course, I had no idea that cities had problems like cost of living, inequality, crime, traffic, air quality, etc. until I moved to one. From the outside, I just saw those cities as islands of prosperity, progress, and culture wrapped in glass and concrete, where everyone is welcome and anyone can find their place. And still, despite being acquainted with the reality of living in a city, I found myself drawn to that romanticized portrayal of city life, and I felt that an open world game would be a perfect medium to recreate that fantasy. After all, even when I play games that take place in obviously dystopian cities, I catch myself thinking, this place doesn't seem so bad. I can totally see myself living here. This is why I wanted to create a city that is utopian rather than dystopian. A city everybody wants to come to rather than leave. Of course, it would have its problems, just not outwardly visible ones. I want to build a city that looks clean, prosperous, and welcoming on the surface, and leaves its less savory parts hidden but discoverable through interactions with the world and its inhabitants. And there's the aspect of exploration. I absolutely love city breaks, and whenever I visit a new city, I walk the streets and think, wow, that building over there, it looks really cool. I wonder if I can enter it. Or, I wonder if I can get to that place I can see from up here. Sometimes, I even have dreams of flying among the skyscrapers and peeking into the windows just to see what's going on inside. And even if it's just a boring office, I can't help but wonder, what are these people working on? What are they talking about at the water cooler? I wish I could pop in and listen. And that's the kind of experience I'm aiming at with my game Vuntra City. Simulating a living, breathing metropolis with citizens is no small task. That's probably why it hasn't been done before. But with Unreal Engine 5 and procedural generation, it's now looking more doable than ever. When I started this project, I was told that even making a city with full building interiors wouldn't be possible, but I already did. And although my city doesn't have NPCs yet, I am pretty confident that I can use the same approach to generate unique people with dialogue that doesn't repeat. As for the gameplay of Vuntra City, I am being intentionally vague when I talk about it because even though I have a pretty good idea of what it will be like, most of the gameplay systems are still in development, so things can change drastically. What I can say for sure is that there won't be much combat or pressure, and it will be focused on investigation and conversation with the NPCs. I want the player to be able to take the story and quests at their own pace, get distracted by the environment, without fearing that they'll miss something or maybe even run off to a completely different part of the city, ignoring any tasks that they might have and still being able to return to them later. Another important aspect of city life that I want to be part of my city's experience is political intrigue. After all, the word politics comes from polis, city. The lore of the game will center around the fact that Vuntra City is an artificial island and functions as a peaceful refuge from people from all over the world. The city will be governed by a council of several factions, some of which are at odds with each other, and I want to let the player have their role in the politics between them. Now, if you're still watching, I have a question for you. Are there any other aspects of city exploration that you think are missing in video game cities? Or maybe there are already games that encompass all the things I've mentioned that I may not know about? Let me know in the comments, I would really appreciate that. Stay creative!